Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode 28 of Breakfast of Champions, the show that's about sometimes about coffee, games, and life. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We're so glad that you could make it. And I don't know, that somehow kind of turned into Mr. Rogers a little bit. Anyway, what's going on?
I'm okay with Mr. Rogers. Listen, we have like hardcore Mr. Rogers fan base out there in the community.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that much. Corrosive, all
Really?
about that Mr. Rogers too. Yeah.
Hey man, Mr. Rogers from where I'm at, man. So that's a hometown hero.
That's right.
Listen, if I can remind people how fantastically phenomenal they are on a daily basis, I will. And it's all because of the MRR, Mr. Rogers. Mm-hmm. What is that face?
That sip of coffee I just had was like
That's a face. That's
orange juice.
That's the face
coffee
that
does to you kids.
Bear Grylls. You know, that's the face that Bear Grylls makes when he's out there in like the savannah, African savannah, and he's just like, "What? What do you think I'm going to say?"
He's trying to survive off of fish guts and
Drinking his own piss.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So, Nerdwire, I know you're a parent. Have you seen Daniel Tiger?
I have seen Daniel Tiger.
That is an offshoot of Mr. Rogers. Do you know?
I did know that.
Yeah.
It has all the songs. It's the only reason I knew that. I didn't recognize it. I was like, wait a second.
It's a cute show.
This is Rogers. Yes.
It's a cute show.
It's good. They have a lot of apps on Kindle Fire too. So like
Nice.
that was how we got by early years of Trip. So
Yep. Yeah. Daniel Tiger's a very cute little kid's show. Check it out. He wears a sweater and changes his shoes just like Mr. Rogers did. KB, what's going on, man? What's going on? You're all rugged up there with your hoodie and everything. What's happening?
Yeah, so this hoodie's actually my brother made this for me. So if we go like this, check that out.
Oh, you can soon buy
so good.
Nice.
It looks so good.
Yeah. So we went out to lunch. He was super sick for his birthday, so we took him out for lunch today, and it was really nice. So I had a real nice, huge lunch, man. I had a burger, man, the size of my head. It was great. And then I came home, and then I went to sleep and woke up like right before we did all the pre-show stuff. So
Nice.
just out here waking up. It seems everybody's taking a nap today. It's nap day.
Oh, man.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
I shoulda.
Speaking of merch, I need to finalize our website so we can put some stuff up in there. Finally.
Nice.
Yep.
Anyway, that's believe me, that's on the
good.
never-ending to-do list.
It's coming eventually.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go. We got somebody in the chat. Topless Fall, offering promotion for channel viewers and chat bots. Nice. Awesome. Very good.
Oh, that'll be perfect. We could use a couple of those.
Oh, you deleted it.
Oh man,
You bastard.
you kept
Not
us
on
from
my
being able
watch.
to achieve that.
Not on my watch.
So, Cody,
Oh,
how are you?
man.
What's happening in your neck of the woods, man? What's news? What's
dude.
goss? What's the tea?
The goss, the tea, the goss and the tea. This week has been really, really good. I've been playing a lot of Undertale as I mentioned on last week's episode. Been playing a lot of Undertale. I swapped over to the genocide route and have really enjoyed playing that. But that's not even the good gaming news that I found out about this week. I found out there's widescreen hacks for GameCube stuff, and I'm going nuts. It looks so good. High resolution textures, 4K display, and just an absolute beauty of a freaking set of games. Like Double Dash works in it, Metroid Prime works in it, Luigi's Mansion works in it,
Wind Waker.
Yes, like I was like, what is this world of emulation that I've stumbled into?
And you can do them on Steam Deck too, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna. At this point, I think I am gonna have to break down and try to do some EMU stuff. I haven't done any of that yet.
It's
So
easy.
like,
It's
it's
so
been a
easy.
vanilla
It's so easy.
Steam Deck for the last. I mean, since I bought it, it's been good.
Easy.
But beyond that, like I've been doing a bit of reading, trying to catch up on. I don't know if you guys have read this comic series before. It's really good. It's like Star Wars, but like telenovela, soap opera-y. It's called Saga. And freaking phenomenal artwork, great storyline. I've been working my way through that again, trying to catch up because they just relaunched that series. And it's been really good too. And that's mostly been it, other than hanging out with my kiddos, and playing video games.
You had a big day last weekend, didn't you? With your son, your firstborn.
I did. He hit. So that's coming up this Sunday. We're doing his birthday party. He hit 6 years old.
Wow.
6 years old on Tuesday, the 25th, whatever day the 25th was this week. And he looks so much taller. That's actually like when he woke up, he came in and he goes, "Is it my birthday?" And Courtney goes, "Yeah, it's your birthday, kiddo." And he goes, "How tall am I now?" So like he just thinks it's tied to height. But we're doing a get together. My family's all coming in tomorrow. Courtney's family is going to be here. We have some close family friends and a couple of his friends. We're going to do a Minecraft themed birthday party, and then go to an indoor theme park afterwards.
Nice.
And
Nice.
It'll be good.
Oh, that's sick. My
so.
my son's birthday is, he doesn't actually turn 1 until 2024 because he was born on Feb 29th, so he's a leap day baby. And that was the year 2020. So I just knew when we went to the hospital, had that kid on February 29th, the world was never the same. So anyway, we've been trying to like tee up his birthday party and tee up all his things, and we've been asking him, "What do you want for your birthday?" He's like, "No, I already have enough presents." He's like, I had enough Christmas presents. I don't need anything. I don't want anything. I'm like, stop being so sensible. You're a kid. Like, let me spoil you. So anyway, in the car yesterday, we were driving, and he just all of a sudden said, "I would like some presents for my birthday."
Wouldn't we all?
So I'm like, all right, well, start thinking. We can go to the shops and take pictures of things that you want, whatever.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's
so adorable.
It's all happening. I know.
Let me ask you, whenever you have a kid on a leap day, do they ask you what day you want their birthday to be on, or do you just decide on your own, like it's listed as February 29th on the birth certificate? Or
yeah,
what?
I mean, it's Feb 29th on the birth certificate. But we usually just celebrate on the 28th and the 1st. It's kind of like a 2-day thing, really. And I guess, it
kind of works out better that way. 2-day birthday. Heck yeah.
We would have been March buddies together had it been a normal year. But it is what it is. So we'll have his birthday party a couple days earlier, and we got some balloons and stuff yesterday. There's not a specific theme, but we've got a Bluey balloon, a Thomas balloon, like a dump truck balloon. So like all the things that he likes, we'll
That's
just
awesome.
spoil him.
Cool.
Not that we don't spoil him every freaking day. And I went to the cafe and I got him a freaking milkshake this morning. So
Hey, milkshake for breakfast, baby.
That's what I'm talking about. Now we're getting somewhere.
if you want anybody to be your daddy, it's me. All right, because I'll buy you a milkshake for your breakfast.
No.
Yes.
Anyway,
Sign me up, baby. Sign me up.
I have not been on Twitch at all this week. Can I just say the streaming hours have not lined up at all. My son's been going to bed at like 9:30, 10. Like, so I've had no chance to do anything. So I'm very sorry for those who have been like, where is he? He's just not streaming anymore. He doesn't like streaming anymore. I'm trying. Believe me, I'm trying. I did, however, put out a YouTube video which hit 700 views this week, which was nuts. So I feel like YouTube is finally clicking. Thank God, because I've been doing that for 11 years this year.
Oh, wow.
And you know what? I'm close to being monetized as well on YouTube, which is insane. I'm only 929 hours away from being monetized, but I mean that's a lot of videos yet that I have to put out still. So anyway,
I've been neglecting my YouTube.
You got to get back on it.
Noticed that.
I'm gonna have you in one of my videos, dude. So I need you.
I know. I just haven't. I don't know. I just haven't had a chance to. I've been
Dead Space on Steam Deck performance. That's what you got to do. Get out there and do that.
That's very broken.
Might as well put it out there.
I couldn't even, dude. It was so broken. It was making me nauseous. I'm like, I can't even like watch this.
Oh man.
I know.
But yeah, that is a Super Nintendo. That does bring up a good point, dude. You could crush those hours by doing at least one stream a week on YouTube, because the stream counts for watch hours.
I've thought about it. I've thought about maybe shifting you to YouTube streaming. It's just to try something different. You know what I mean? Like, because I mean, we've already got a great community on Twitch and stuff, but why not try something different? I mean, I think it's a mistake to kind of just sit and be complacent and not try and change or evolve or adapt or whatever. Like, the one thing that we want to try and do is like get our Instagram reels going and TikTok reels and YouTube shorts. But another thing as well that we've kind of internally discussed is adding all of our news bite clips as individual YouTube videos that you can watch during the week, supplementary to the actual video. So try and break it up and help moving forward. So
at the end of the day, most of those Eric laddies and ladies are going to follow you over there if you decide to do it. So
no, well, it's just food for thought. So
yep.
Food for thought. No, we also do not have a voicemail for today. So just a reminder, if you do want to call in and leave a message, you can do so at 1-315-314-4190, or you can send us a message on Patreon or Discord and all that stuff. But speaking of Patreon, what did we do the other day?
Oh, we had the deepest dirt that has ever been dug up upon my prior employer. A very open discussion. It was really, really, really good. Some illuminating topics, but if you guys want to know more, there's plenty content over there. In addition to just the latest GameStop tell-all episode that we did for Patreon for all of you tier 2, tier 3 supporters.
And guess what else is going up tonight? Well, tonight after the show for you anyway. You know what's happening?
What else is going up?
Is this gonna bomb the stream if I do this? I don't know if. No. Okay. So, there it is. You know what's happening? Ladies' night. All of our wives are going to go and record a ladies' night episode specifically for Patreon. So if you want to see all of our wives just probably talk shit for 45 minutes, now's your chance.
Oh boy.
Probably gonna spill the tea on us. I'm sure I'm gonna watch the episode and think, oh gosh.
Oh god.
Anyway,
I love it.
Cody's getting something.
Oh, it's fine. I need to write down a note for me.
Okay, fair enough. Well, we no voicemail today. I mean, it's kind of be a slower episode, I suppose, but we can ease on into our news bite because there's actually a lot that's been happening here this week. So what do you say we transition on to our news bite? And KB, you just talked about it before. We'll let you tee it off. Here we go.
Hey, so you guys remember playing Dead Space back in the day, right? The OG, the definitive horror space game. How can you not play it?
I'm a big old scaredy cat. It must not be not that scary because I didn't touch it. It
scared me at times, but it wasn't bad once you use the cheat codes to get like infinite oxygen and stamina and bullets and stuff. Man, it was fine.
God
it's
mode.
Not that scary. Yeah, God mode. It's not that scary whenever you're God. I mean,
that.
unless you're fighting Eric Ladd.
Yes.
I love it.
Oh man, what are those reviews like?
So, Dead Space the remake is finally out, and according to Engadget, it sets the new benchmark for video game remakes. And does
it?
So this game, it's good. It looks good. Okay, I've played it on my Steam Deck a little bit. It looks good. Okay, it runs like poop. There's other words I could say there, but I'm going to try to dial it down just a hair. It is rough on Steam Deck, and it's not a Steam Deck thing at all. And the reason I say that is because people with like high performance PCs and stuff, they can't even get it running at a solid 60 frames a second. So I'm a little confused why Engadget says it's the cream of the crop. You know, it rose to the top on remakes, and it's kind of like it runs great on PS5, and I'm so happy that PS5 finally has a game that you can play there if you can obtain one. It's a little interesting to see. Engadget come out and basically say that this is the best thing they've put out. This is, a callback to 2008. This is how Dead Space felt back then. This is how it feels now. And I kind of disagree, man. I mean, it looks good. If you turn all the little add-ons to make it feel like it has ray tracing and all this stuff, you turn that all off, looks way better than what you would see. However, man, it's Xbox is chugging on running it. It's right now it's only running on PlayStation, and that's a shame, because you have all these other potential ways to play and you can't.
What was the game that the original Dead Space devs came out with like about 2 months ago? What was that one called?
Oh, the Callisto Protocol.
Yeah,
that allegedly suffered from the same issues where it wasn't running on specific consoles.
Yeah,
but I mean, like visually, the Dead Space remake looks really pretty. Like it looks really great, and I do think they are. Engadget is on to something by saying that they're setting a new benchmark for remakes. Correct? Yeah, absolutely. Visually, it looks great.
Yes,
but if you can't run the game, then there's no merit to that point. You know what I mean? So it's just it's disappointing.
One of the problems I've had, and I've been trying to work with one of my friends who's also a fellow content creator. Both of us have been trying to. He was trying to run it off his SD card. He said it was like a flip book, and after the shaders had loaded, things were somewhat okay. I'm running it off of my SSD. And it was like one of the instances I had where I loaded back in. So you crash land into the what is it, the Ishimura. You crash land in there, and you're supposed to follow the security team down this little like pathway to get into the actual like little mining space station. And they're sitting there, they're standing there staggered. You can hear the environment going off. Things are still like moving and doing their thing, but the characters are standing static. They're not moving. You walk through them. You can go around the whole world, and it's like everything is just frozen in time. And I don't know what.
I could play this version of it.
You could absolutely play this version of it.
Fine with me. I see no issues here.
But what cracks me up is, so if you own a Steam Deck and you want to see if games run right, you want to go and use Proton DB. Proton DB is going to show you it's community based, and it's going to like a lot of people show how they either have their Linux PC running or their Steam Deck running and what configurations they're using, and everybody says, oh yeah, the game crashes as soon as you want to pull up the map, or the game freezes whenever you want to click your right stick to show the path of where you need to go. And it's just it's a shame to see, because I was really looking forward to playing this. I was going through Dead Space 1, the original, on my Steam Deck, and was like, yo, the new one's going to be so cool. I can't wait. And then I get here, and I don't know. But I could ask for a refund. However, I'm going to be optimistic and wait, because as soon as I refunded Sonic Frontiers, they fixed it. So and then I'm like, well, I'm not going to just buy it again. I just bought another game. So it's like I'm just going to sit on it and wait, and hopefully it works. And the nice thing is, I do have enough footage from it running like crap that whenever they do get it fixed, I could like kind of throw something together.
Comparison video, be like, yeah, hey, but this is where it started. This is where it's at now.
It's a shame, man. It's a shame, because it's a very gorgeous looking game.
Yeah,
I mean, the environment, dude, it looks phenomenal. You would think that we have 4K screens in this thing. Once you get everything all dialed in. I mean, I had stuff on low and it popped and looked amazing. So
yeah, I mean, like this is a really great game visually. I mean, Dead Space was a really great franchise. I never played it. I watched it being played. But I would like to give it a shot. I mean, like, unfortunately, PS5 is the only place that you can really play it now. So, and I would love to play this game on my Steam Deck, and it would look great on Steam Deck, even at low settings, just judging by how this game is running. I'm just watching.
We'll wait for Sony to get more exclusives, I guess.
Yeah, I know, unfortunately, right? You're probably right.
Oh man.
So there you go. So we'll have to wait on Dead Space for other consoles. But if you have a PS5, why not try and grab it? I mean, like I've always associated Dead Space with Xbox 360 personally, so that's a bit of a funny one.
Same, yeah.
What's the next here? So now we talked about this as our topic for last week, but The Last of Us has been renewed for a second season 2, no surprise, of course. The only thing that I see, and I talked about this briefly for for last week's topic, was how Ellie looks. The actress for Ellie looks. Honestly, if you look at some of the Instagram comment sections, oh boy, they are toxic as hell.
Yeah.
But
It makes me feel for her. I mean, she is still a young girl. At the end of the day, she's a young girl with self-image. And I mean, even as a young dude, like I had body image issues. Like I was a chunky kid, and it was one of those things. Like I would not want to have to live with that, but I feel for her. Like, man.
So there you go. So it's done really well. They've only done up to the second episode yet in terms of like how it's being aired right now, because obviously it's weekly.
Third one's tomorrow, I think. Third one's tomorrow. I will say I've seen some like hacks of the Last of Us remake that's her
cursed.
face.
That does not
work over. And look,
some of it was rough.
It makes it more believable, though.
Yeah, it does.
That this is the character, and I'm down with it. And look, at the end of the day, I'm just here to have a Baja Blast of Us time. So
Yeah.
Do we have that photo? Can I pull up that photo? Because did you make that? Did you make that?
No, I found that on the internet. Thank you, internet.
I need to. I'm going to pull this up right now.
I think it's in the Discord.
I've got it.
Discord chat.
Do you guys want me to? Do you want me to leave? You want me to leave?
The Baja Blast of Us. When you're lost in the dire hee, look for the wipes.
Dire hee. Look for the wipes.
That's not even fair.
Well, so no surprise. I mean, like we talked about The Last of Us a lot last week. Last of Us 2, I didn't finish. I actually found it to be way too gruesome, and I could not.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, there was an event that happened like really early in the game, which I suspected would happen. I think it happened too early, but I suppose for character development for Ellie, kind of makes sense. And I just felt it was too. I don't know. I couldn't get into The Last of Us 2, but of course they're gonna expand on the show. I think there was an interview with one of the series producers from Naughty Dog, saying that The Last of Us Part 2 for HBO could be a 2-season split because there's a lot of stuff to handle in that. Yeah. So, I mean, this is just going to be something that we're going to be seeing for quite a while.
Maybe they'll bring back a good show like Westworld. I mean,
yeah, a lot of people like that. I didn't watch it, but
oh, dude, that was really good. If you want a good one, man, watch that.
Yeah. Speaking of good ones, Cody, what have you got next here for us? This is an interesting.
Next thing, my wife sent this to me, and she was like, "I need to send this to Eric also because, like, I thought we both thought you'd be like crazy over the moon about this information that was in here." But there was a game that came out. There's a musician here. He's posting on TikTok. His name is Michael Walfius. And he was posting on TikTok about a racing game called Road Trip that came out on PS2 over 20 years ago. Where nearly the entirety of the soundtrack is music that he created and he was not credited for and was not made aware it was being used in. This very first TikTok that you guys are seeing here previewed with no audio, he shared that he did not yet have a PS2. He bought a PS2 from eBay, booted it up on a follow-up TikTok, and he's like, the intro is one of my songs. He goes on to say he had embedded his birth date and his social security number into the music, the MIDI files that are in there as secret code. And this is absolutely insane that this team of people went 20 years without like him finding out that he has copywritten music in this game. I'm blown away, and it's really cool because that's like an S rank big brain move, putting your social security number in the code, because there's like unequivocal, you cannot disprove that this was his music that's in here. But I don't know how you would feel about that, Eric. Without compensation, without crediting, but for me personally, like if I had art assets that got stolen off of Getty Images, I'd probably be a little bit upset. Like I just want to be credited a little bit. I don't even need money. I just want to be in the game.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a funny one. So this game came out in 2002, and it's just looks like a racing game pretty much. I've never heard of this game. This was developed. Who was it by? So it was a Koro Q. I don't know. There's really not a lot of information here on Wikipedia. So like this was probably one of those bargain bin games, really. And probably if you grab it on eBay, like $5-10, not even. So, but yeah, a racing / adventure game. I mean, I don't know. The thing is like when it comes to there's a fine line between stealing music and then licensing music and stuff like that. So like I think with this, like they obviously didn't license the music for the game. Right. And I find it interesting that like it's taken so long for this guy to find out about it. It's unfortunate that he's found out about it. I mean, like, he made the TikTok about it and whatever. I found it was quite interesting, but it's like, why is he only finding out about it now? Like if all of the information was hidden within the MIDI files and they were available online, like how has nobody ever connected the dots before until now?
Yep.
And he said he wasn't mad, but
Oh, there's a fair amount of skepticism to walk into that with. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. If you yourself, like, I don't know. Like, I don't watch or play a lot of horror games, but if, in the sense that, like, he probably did not play a whole lot of video games in general, based on that assumption. If you have this, like, niche road trip adventure title that's out there and you don't play video games and you never find out about it and no one ever tries to credit it for you and no one ever reaches out to you because you don't know, like, most people aren't looking at those sounds. Like, I think that's a good reason for why he didn't find out about it until way later.
Yeah, that makes sense.
At the same time, who is he going to hold accountable at this point? Like,
he said he tried to message the original composer, composer, quote unquote,
composer.
It was in Japan. He said he sent him a message in English and like a very thorough, like translated Japanese. Just waiting for a response. So like I'm kind of interested to see if there gets a reply, but I doubt it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I doubt it. I mean, like I'm flicking through footage of this game here after having not seen it. It actually looks kind of cool, It looks kind of fun. I mean, it would have been a good game as a kid, just kind of exploring this little racing hub world and stuff like that. But I don't know. Gosh, a very interesting situation.
Let's look at Metacritic's rating. Oh, it's actually got a good Metascore of 80.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's a hidden gem. Maybe Metal Jesus has talked about it before.
No, oh my God.
Oh man. That's interesting.
So there you go. I think what an interesting thing, and I'll be looking forward to following that up. And Mrs. Nerdwire said we should actually get him on the show to talk about that. So maybe we can reach out. We'll see.
I think that'd be interesting. Just to hear what his takeaways are and what his other contributions to music and video games industry has been by accident.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. So KB, you talked about a game that you purchased on your Steam Deck. And then they ended up fixing it. So why don't you take this next one? This is pretty interesting.
So this one here I came across, or it might not have been me, might have been one of us. One of us found this tweet, okay? And essentially, according to Nintendo Everything, the director for Sonic Frontiers wants to get rid of a boost mechanic and make the sequel more like Sonic Adventures.
Thank you.
What do you mean, thank you? Did you not like it?
Frontiers was great, and it was a great way to drive the series forward. But all of us Sonic fans, we all know we want Sonic Adventure 3, and this was the closest thing to it. But give me that. Give me the Sonic Adventure 3 I want. Give me the Chow Garden. Give me all that stuff. That's what I want. I'll eat that up.
So there's a little snippet here I'm going to read. It says the director's name is Kishimoto, and Kishimoto added that he understands the boost has its benefits. And it'll be something Sega experiments with alongside the spin dash move. He also brought up wanting to challenge what sort of level designs are possible in Sonic without boost, referencing the Sonic Adventure game. So it sounds like he's like, yeah, this is something cool, but we need a challenge. It was a little, to him, he maybe thinks it's a little too easy,
What did you think, Cody? I mean, you didn't you play Sonic Frontiers with your son a little bit?
Yeah, I played basically through a good portion of the actual like open area of the game, that very first portion of that. I thought it was a beautiful game. I had a really, really good time with it. It has a great soundtrack. Like, I was kind of blown away. It's the first Sonic 3D game that I've ever enjoyed. I'm gonna drop a hot take
Really?
here.
Oh, wow.
The adventure battle, none of the 3D Sonic games have ever really gotten me in quite the same way that 2D Sonic has. But I'm not a big 3D platformer guy in general for the most part. I like the Mario games because they're Mario. I do kind of discriminate when it comes to my Sonic games, because it's like I could get behind this one though, because it had this good melding of Breath of the Wild meets 2D Sonic for me. Like the running and the physicality of Sonic felt very good to me comparatively. And I think if they do make some changes to go back to more of their roots in 3D Sonic, I'm down for it. I would like to experience it in a way that I actually enjoy it, compared to going back to some of those older Sonic Adventure games.
I agree. I mean, I don't know if KB, have you played the original Sonic Adventure? Like, have you played?
No, I actually hate Sonic because I'm not a Sonic fan. I'm a Mario kid through and through, man. So I thought I'd give this a shot, and whenever it didn't work, I was like, "Well, that's par for the course."
Well, fair enough.
It sucks.
I mean, like, the thing with Sonic Adventure is that, like, they really they had a tough time trying to get Sonic into a 3D world, and Sonic Adventure wasn't Sonic's first outing in 3D, because they had like Sonic Jam for the Saturn. And that was really
know about that one.
That was the first time. Let me see if I can pull up some footage. That was the first time where you could play as Sonic in a 3D world, because it was kind of like a hub world. Let me just see here, because this would be really interesting. I could be wrong. There was some sort of game where we could, on the Saturn, where we could run around in some sort of 3D world. This cool. Is it right here. I've got it here. So this was really, really interesting. So yeah, I mean, it was pretty bare bones and pretty basic. Where are we?
This feels like a Genesis era game, though. Looking at it, like Genesis era with like 3D graphics.
Yeah. So Sonic has always had kind of a troubled past with 3D games, and like Sonic 06 was very infamous for being pretty shit. Honestly.
The worst. The worst
and
of
of
them
course
all.
they tried with Sonic Extreme, as Netist says, for the Saturn, but that never came to fruition. So yeah, this footage that we're seeing right here, this was the first time that anybody could play as Sonic in a 3D world, and they've come a long way. And Frontiers was a really great way of pushing Sonic forward after a couple of bad Sonic games. Like Sonic Forces was just awful. I don't care what anybody says. That was a terrible game, and we waited for ages.
Is that him sprinting?
Yep, that's it.
Oh, that's as fast as you go, man. He's so fast. He's a blue blur. I mean, how do you simulate speed? The biggest problem with Sonic is like it is very easy on a 2D plane to maintain speed. In a 3D environment, to embody everything that is the blue blur himself, like it is. I don't know how you do it effectively,
the boost
except
mechanic.
for give them a wide, empty world.
Yep.
Yeah, boost mechanic. Yep.
Yeah, that's it. And like that was introduced in Sonic Unleashed, I believe. Because prior to that, it was like Sonic and the Black Knight, which was very much an on-rails game. So Sonic's been funny for a while, but Frontiers was a great way forward. But I want to see Sonic go back to Adventure 1 and 2 style. That was a great game. Good times.
I'm with you.
Good times.
I think our final thing we had here on the news bite. So KB was talking about disabling all the stuff that makes things look like ray tracing for the Dead Space remake. And it is an article from our good friends at hard-drive.net, trying to explain the differences so you guys really get a grasp on what RTX means. I mean, it can mean a myriad of things, but the way Hard Drive explains it, just so I can catch you gamers up, the way Hard Drive explains it is there's really a couple of different things. Ray tracing, also known as RTX. Ray tracing is a digital rendering method that largely involves reflections of light depicted visually and realistically. A lot of people say it's overrated, but those that can tell the difference say it's an absolute crucial component of today's AAA games, as evidenced by the Dead Space remake running as phenomenally as it does on the Steam Deck. Now, no one was demanding ray tracing a decade ago, but it's here, and if you're not using it, you're simply behind the curve. They do go on to say the difference between RTX and a rock is if you find a rock on the ground, there's really no telling how long it might have been there. Is it pretty embedded into the soil? If so, it could very well predate ray tracing of any form then. Does that make an old rock on the ground superior to today's ray tracing technology? At the end of the day, I don't think it's for hard-drive.net or us at the breakfast table to say. But I do encourage you to pursue further education and gain a better understanding of what RTX is in comparison to today's everyday rocks.
I hope that's like somebody out there is listening to this thinking, yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
It's a serious thing.
It is. I mean, it is. Super serial topics here, folks. Super serial.
Oh my god, that's too good. So there you go. That rounds up our news bite. Now in the now we'll just flick over the topic because I've. Okay, if you were watching live on Twitch here, you received a go live notification that says, "You'll never believe what GameStop did," and this is just so funny. And this piggybacks off of our Patreon episode that we did last week, which was the GameStop tell-all. Of course, Cody worked at GameStop for close to 10 years, and we had so many like deep dives into specific topics and questions that you guys asked. That was great. This is a great way to piggyback off of that episode, like straight up. So what happened recently is Fire Emblem Engage came out. That's a great game. I'm like 5 or 6 hours into it. I'm on chapter 9 or 10. It's fun, cool, really great. And I was saying this before we went live to you guys, is you would think that being in the video games industry as a voice actor, you would have some sort of pull, or for example, you would get a copy of the game perhaps, but maybe not necessarily. You're compensated for your time. And then you move on, unless you're Helena Taylor from Bayonetta. And then, of course, you know what I mean. You cause a storm online.
TikTok riot.
Yeah, Bayonetters. Anyway, so what happened was there was a story that came out for the lead voice actor Brandon McInnes, who is the voice actor from Alear from Fire Emblem Engage. So he had this tweet here. So check this out. He had this tweet here that states, "LOL, GameStop just called me to let me know that my pre-order of the Divine Edition of Fire Emblem Engage sadly won't be fulfilled because corporate had them selling pre-orders without guaranteed stock. I voiced the lead in the game." And he also follows up, when they originally told me it was delayed the night before release, I got a digital copy instead and then bought a Divine Edition on eBay from a reseller. But it irks me that people gave money to GameStop believing they'd get a copy of something special to them, and they were duped. Just want to let y'all know to save y'all some grief when a game that's really important to you drops in the future. Wow. Tell us more.
It's interesting to me that this is the first time he's ever experienced it. Because it's not an uncommon business practice for GameStop as a whole. But I will also say this has some very heavy "do you know who I am" kind of energy to it. And as a matter of fact, someone highlights that a little bit later on down in the Twitter thread. But he does kind of handle that fairly effectively in a nice way to shut that down. He's like, look, I'm not gonna. I don't need to put my weight into this. But here's the thing. GameStop as a whole, basically what they have done in the past, and I'm sure what they're going to continue to do in the future, is they buy a certain amount of allocation. We have two policies. The first policy, and I say we, the royal we, not me anymore, but one of the policies is we have a very hardcore 48-hour hold period for a pre-ordered game. For a game that you as a customer put money down on. For a game that you as a customer pulled money out of your wallet and handed to an employee behind a cash register to say, as an agreement, I give you this money, you're going to hold this game for me, and I will be able to come pick this up. And it's extremely frustrating when that bond, that monetary transaction, is not honored to the extent that you would hope for it to be. So here's the real nitty gritty of what I'm seeing here within this tweet. So he says, GameStop just called to let me know that my pre-order of the Divine Edition of Fire Emblem Engage won't be fulfilled because corporate had them selling pre-orders without guaranteed stock. I mean, this is the interesting piece. What do you got, KB? What do you think?
I was going to say, doesn't that happen with console pre-orders too all the time? They sell them ahead of like knowing how many they're going to get.
Oh, we do offer the pre-orders, but they do limit those. As you guys can see here, this is some of the stuff from the Divine Edition. Although I think those 2 items there were directly from the Nintendo Store. Everything else is in the Fire Emblem Engage box.
So that's a button and a map, I think, for those listening audio only after the fact.
Button, poster, looks like of the tapestry within the game.
Oh yes, yeah, that's cool.
With all the heroes of old,
the Fell Dragon and the Divine Dragon. Pretty cool.
But that Divine Edition was extremely limited, and
you have that, don't you?
I do. I've got it on my shelf now, but I do have it, and it is very, very cool, but was also very, very limited, and there was only one way to get that, and that was through reserving it. And corporate only fulfilled, the corporate allocations department only fulfilled, based on my contacts within GameStop still, those who pre-ordered. Those who pre-ordered the Divine Edition. That's all they sent, was the pre-order amounts. And Brandon McKinnis here, what he had happen to him, what I believe happened to him, is that someone above him told him, sell that, we are going to get more allocation for it later. If Brandon McKinnis does not come pick this up, his loss, we don't know who he is. He does not matter to me. I'm going to go ahead and sell this. That way I can make my bottom dollar today. And then next thing you know, they have to call him and apologize.
Wow.
It's absolutely asinine. Like, I don't understand how this stuff happens.
Have you had that happen to you, KB? I mean, like, I know we've asked you stuff about GameStop, but have you really ever had like a poor experience? I've like
a handful of times for pre-orders where I've pre-ordered it and I go to my GameStop. Now, mind you, there's like, at the time there were 4 to 5 within a mile of each other, but they were like, sorry, we're out of pre-orders. Like, they only gave us a certain amount and we don't have one to give you. We can call our other stores and see if they have them, but all we can do is refund your money. So I said, I'll go refund my money and go to Best Buy. It's right down the street. I'll go get it. And like, it sucked because I'm like, well, I like to pre-order through GameStop just because it's what I've been doing for years, man. I still don't trust Best Buy and Target to do pre-orders or anything like that because they're a department store. They can care less if a video game is pre-ordered or not. You know what I mean? Because I had that happen with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I wanted to get a double pack there because they had like a little figure set that I wanted to get. They said, sorry, we only have 1 copy of Violet and that's it. We don't have anything else to offer you. So yeah, it's like, I don't trust them at all. I'd rather give GameStop my money, unfortunately, because they are a video game store. So I'm always gonna trust them.
Yep.
Even though I've had pre-orders not come in or they sell out, and I might not have gotten there during the day. I show up in the evening and they're like, sorry, don't want to tell you.
Yeah,
so
it's unfortunate. The Divine Edition unboxing that we're watching here, courtesy of Game Explain. The cards, those are so cool. I think and it preserves like the original character art as well from like the games that they were released in. And I think it's really cool to see like those like the 80s-esque Fire Emblem characters. Anyway, so Cody, have you ever had an instance where you've had to sell something on somebody? Because I mean, you're on the other side of the coin too. Like,
yeah. So other side of the counter, this was something that happened pretty consistently within the company. It is something that I was called and asked to do. Here's the thing: me as an employee, one of my favorite things to do was to be able to get something that somebody reserved in and give them a call and say, "Hey, I've got this." Because midnight launches, early release nights, release days were the most fun days I could ever have at GameStop, because at the end of the day, I'm giving something to someone who is super excited about that specific thing. On occasions where we were asked to do this, my personal hold policy was up for a week. I'm just going to hold it for a week. Now, I understand that impacts my allocations. I understand that impacts, because from a business perspective, if you didn't make those sales within the first 48 hours and they get their 72-hour file at whatever publisher that gets it, and they don't capture that sale, it looks like this game flopped. I understand the drive behind it to get it out there into a customer's hand and not hold it. At the end of the day, my goal was to be able to hold it. But when I got asked to do this, oftentimes it was given to me under this veiled, you're going to be okay, everything's going to be okay, you've got more allocation coming in a day. There'll be more here tomorrow, so go ahead and sell through your pre-orders today, so that way you can meet demand and not have anybody leave your store without it in hand, instead of us saying, hey, come back and see me tomorrow, because GameStop doesn't want to lose business to Best Buy, Target, as I like to call it.
Yes.
Yeah.
They don't want to lose that business. And it was one of the most disheartening things in the entire world when the things that I was told to do versus the things that actually happened did not coincide, were not the same. Sell this now so you get allocation tomorrow, versus so I sold it and it never came. So now what am I going to do? Tell this person that walked in. How am I going to handle that? Yeah. And it's a situation like KB just talked about. I'm going to call my neighbor's store and see if I can work something out. Or I'm going to call the allocations department and say, hey, I need one overnighted. Well, that's one more night that person had to go without. And I know we're not talking about food or water or shelter.
Yeah.
But this is an entertainment thing that is very important to that person. They put money in my hand with the entrusting nature that I was going to do something for them, and I didn't. I didn't hold up my end of the bargain.
I mean, I'm looking at the chat, and Shiny Bird has a good point. They're the only video game store in America. That's it. We don't have anything else. They've pretty much either absorbed all the other ones, or the other ones went belly up. So, like,
Monopoly,
outside of a mom and unless you have a mom and pop store that you can go to that they do pre-orders and they, get new games in, you're like, my only option is GameStop. That's it. I could go to like a retro place, but finding those around my area, it's dime a dozen.
I would say, like, in my experience, in knowing Chris from Microgame, who again was on episode 3, go check that out. He also used to work at GameStop, and there's, when you order, because if you're a mom and pop retailer or a brick and mortar retailer that's aside from GameStop has like exclusivity deals for like all these pre-order things, of course, I would assume. So they get allocated X amount. Yeah. And then Best Buy, Target, Walmart might get something. And then the scraps go to, I dare say, the mom and pop stores. So I know it's probably really hard for those retro stores to even get things like that in. And I very rarely ever saw any bonuses like that at Microgame in my time when I lived in the States, of course. And even just getting some Nintendo games was hard. I know some retailers, this is kind of an aside, like can get like limited run games, as in like the publisher limited run, but it's really hard to have like some sort of exclusivity deal if you're not like a massive chain. Like I know Pink Gorilla in the Washington state area, like I know that they have like some limited run games and stuff that they can get, and like some brick and mortar stores do have specific rights and deals and stuff like that. But I mean, like you're stuck ordering through GameStop. That's the thing. When there's a monopoly, you have no choice but to order through there and just give them your business. It's the same thing like when Walmart got really popular, they started to buy out all the grocery stores because they have the money and they're going to take over. And you as Joe Blow, the average person with an average job, you got nowhere else to go but Walmart, so you're forced to go there. Same thing with video games. You know, you want your entertainment, you can go digital, or you can go to the actual GameStop store and then do your Power Up rewards cards and get charged $15 a year every year that you didn't authorize, which is, you know, again, something we talked about on the Patreon thing. You got no choice. You have no choice but to risk it for a pre-order thing, Divine Edition. So I'm sorry, I feel bad that the lead VA from the game couldn't get it from GameStop.
The place he pre-ordered it, the place he paid for it. And here's the thing, he has more voice acting credits than just Lear in Fire Emblem, because the dude was Sir Night-Eye in My Hero Academia. He was Gyutaro on Demon Slayer. Like, everything. He's a big name actor, voice actor, and totally got shafted because he got treated like every other customer.
I find it so funny that you wouldn't get a copy of that game. Like, I know I worked on music for a game that's not out yet, and I honestly don't know if it ever will be. I composed some music for a video game that had a Kickstarter campaign 8 years ago, or an Indiegogo campaign 8 years ago, and you know what it was called? It was called Justice Beaver on the Super Nintendo. So I was contacted years ago to compose some like Rage Against the Machine-ish kind of music. So check this out. This is a beaver with a gun. I think there's a more recent video that's like 6 years old. Yeah. So I composed music for this, and I think that I was going to get a copy of this, like an actual Super Nintendo cartridge, if it ever gets released. Like, my names are in the credits. My name's going to be in like the high score thing. My high score is going to be 2112 whenever that comes out. Like, my musical imprint is all over this game. I would hope that I get a copy. On the other side, I composed a song for a game that made it on the Switch, PS4, Xbox, Steam, Hot Shot Racing.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that was going to be on that game. I got contacted by Jason Heine, who composed the music for Hot Shot Racing. Great guy, talented guy. He asked me for like a demo idea, and so I was like, here's just a riff, here's something. And they ended up using the demo in the final game, and I was like, oh my god, I'm mortified because it sounds like garbage. But anyway, that's in the final game. So if you roll the credits on that game, you will see my name in the credits.
That's awesome.
But I didn't even know that. Like, I got contacted like 2 weeks before that game was coming out. It's like, hey man, your music's in the game, check it out. I wasn't compensated at all for any of that, and I didn't get a copy of the game. So like,
oh my goodness,
you think that you would get something for being a part, but like, that's not not necessarily, you know. So I'm not surprised, but it's unfortunate for this guy to not be like freaking main character. They get the divine. He's the divine dragon.
The thing that cracks me up is, you know, when this stuff happens, people immediately want to rage against, you know, the store, and it's like, it's not going to get you anywhere. No. Like when I didn't get my pre-orders, you didn't see me crying and, you know, taking to the internet. I just said, okay, I'll just take my refund and go buy it somewhere else. Like, it's not like you said earlier, man, it's not a necessity. Was I bummed out? Sure. Like, but
you're still alive.
I still go back to that same one and still get my pre-orders. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things, like, I get being upset about it, but you don't have to get upset at the poor teenager behind the counter who, you know, sold your copy. Okay.
Right. The exclusivity there is the thing that I think is the thing that's the most crushing, because that cannot be replaced. Like, you are not going to get that except for buying through a reseller. Like, those are very limited. I don't have a copy of Fire Emblem Three Houses special edition that they did, and I really wanted that. Yeah. But I didn't have the cashola at the time to be able to purchase an over $100 video game. I was like, I'm not going to drop that. I will buy this at $60, which is $40 cheaper, and not worry about an art book and a steel book. And now, whenever I go and look on eBay for it, it's $300, $200, $300, $400, depends on where you're looking. Yeah. So, like, you can live without those things. It just sucks that his name, very much like Eric's in the Super Nintendo game and in the racing game, his name is in this. His identity is all over that main character. And he cannot have this thing because someone at corporate dropped the ball. And that's the other thing. It's someone at corporate who told this person, whether it be a regional executive, whether it be a district leader, whether it be that person's store manager, said, hey, I need you to go ahead and sell this.
Yeah.
You'll get more allocation later. And they sold it. And then Brandon McInnes does not get it.
It's a shame.
It's like,
it's a shame.
It's just disappointing because like having to buy it through a reseller, like that's one thing. But like, you know, if this is something that you want later on, oh boy, you pay for it. And I can tell you I flash this as often as I can. It's the only thing that I can really flex in life. So like Chrono Trigger. So I bought Chrono Trigger, of course. Comes with the manual. Like, so if you buy the game, it comes with the manual. But like, you know, think of a game in 1994 or 5 when this comes out, and like you get all the posters and stuff like that. So like I have the Chrono Trigger poster, you know, have the map. Like, these are really special to me. And of course, like if I'm involved in something, I want all the stuff. I want all the smoke. I want it all, because it's like that's a part of me. And I had to go to Big W and buy Hot Shot Racing, you know, like a year after it was released. And like I wanted to tell the guy behind the counter, like, hey, you know, I got a song. Like, he doesn't give a shit. Like, they don't care.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
and that's and you know, just some final thoughts on this topic. You know, this is one of the main reasons that I think GameStop as a whole and video games retail in a brick and mortar sense with physical availability is, I mean, it will not outlast the digital age.
No.
Like it can't. Because gamers are going to get tired of this. How many times can you go to a store and be screwed over?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter where it's at, whether it's GameStop, Target, Best Buy. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, they're all you are a sales number to them. And if you aren't coming in within their allotted time frame, they're going to find a different sales number.
Yeah. And you know, to add a little extra to that, man, I don't really get physical anymore unless it's on Switch, because I can get a better deal online pre-ordering for Steam. A game that could cost me $60, $70 physical, I can get on Steam for a pre-order bonus for, you know, let's say 15% off. And then if I go to that store, not Steam, like let's say Fanatical, I go to Fanatical and pre-order, I'm getting 15% off. Then their deal stacks. So if I already have a 10% off deal in my email, now I'm getting 25% off, and I just got that game cheap as hell.
Crisis Core, I paid, it was $75 new, and I think I paid maybe $63 with a discount for Steam, and that's an incredible deal. And I know we talked about this like in our fledgling days, but Octopath Traveler 2 was 50% off on Steam. I mean, KB, you jumped on that, and that was a fluke. You can't do that, you know, brick and mortar. So there's you know, the give and takes, and of course GameStop and stuff is always going to be more expensive. I mean, I think in the US, if you want to get any games, Walmart or Target's probably going to be the cheaper one.
Yep, Target, Walmart, those will always launch $10 cheaper than GameStop will.
So
always. There
you go. GameStop drops the ball yet again. So let's head on over to a wrap up. We've got a really interesting one. KB's all over this. Let's go.
So Eric, we all know you're a music guy. You produce music. You listen to music. I mean, look at your backdrop, man. You have one of your albums right there on the wall.
Absolutely.
I know Cody. That's how you found Eric, from his music. I mean, I found Eric from his old podcast. Then I'm like, yo, this guy does music. Yeah,
we just got a vinyl.
yeah. So like, you know, so I figured, you know, what's a better way to do a wrap up than what was your favorite era of music? And I'm talking in general, man. This could be anything from classical to modern, man. What is your favorite era of music?
Who wants to start it?
Why don't we throw it to Skrillex down there?
Yeah, what's going on?
Where? You know, so here's the thing. I personally think music hit its peak. Music hit its peak in the 80s. You had so many different pieces of music that was really, really starting to take form. You had new rock, you had hair metal and glam bands that were popping up. You had all of your balladeers. You had I would even say country music at the time. That was when it was at its peak, and actually listenable and made by real cowboys and not these Hollywood rancheros.
Thank you.
But the thing is that it's not my favorite era. It's not my favorite era. As a matter of fact, it's not most of that music. Is inspo for my favorite genre, which is alternative. But my classification for alternative is going to be stuff like Cage the Elephant. It's going to be stuff like the Gorillaz. It's going and that's a wide range too. You're mixing hip hop with alternative in that. But those are where I would land. My favorite era, 90s. Yep. It's so cringy and bad. But it is so nostalgic. I remember ringing in the new year of 2000,
Y2K,
2000, because I was so afraid of Y2KB. I was so afraid of that because I didn't know what was going to happen. Technology was going to crash. My life was going to be over. I was going to die in nuclear fallout. I didn't know what was going to happen. And I remember ringing in the new year with Britney Spears' Soda Pop on the Pokemon, the first movie soundtrack, just singing, the gravity can't stop, clock's ticking, but you can't stop. That was my go-to era, and there's so much that I think about. When I think about that music, Vanilla Ice was huge. MC Hammer was getting big. It was that you had.
It's a thing, man.
So good. 90s is where it's at for me, I think.
Damn.
Eric, what about you? What
Hang on.
See, this is why I knew it would be a good topic, because I know, Cody, you're very passionate about music. I mean, for those that don't know, you used to be in a band too. So
So you were Cody. You were a guitar player in a Christian rock band. Is that correct, or was it just a normal?
Yeah. I gigged around a lot. It wasn't I would just apply to anywhere. It's hey, I need a bassist. Hey, I need a guitarist. Hey, I need someone to come in here and play trumpet. I would go and do that just to do it and earn some cash on the side. Yeah, the last band I was with was a Christian rock band. Had a number 18 on the CCR charts on Billboard. There
you go.
It was a good time. It was a good time.
People don't know that about you, man. My favorite era of music, when I grew up, it was late 70s, prog rock era. I love Rush, and yes, I grew up listening to Led Zeppelin and all that stuff, and that absolutely made me really interested in being a musician. I raided my parents' CD collection, then I just learned to play the entirety of Moving Pictures on guitar, bass, and drums from Rush. That's how I just grew up with that. But as I got older, once we had the studio, I burned out on music, and then it was a lockdown era, and it all fell into pieces for me when I found Cassiopeia Mint Jams. That's a vinyl I've showed. I actually feature that in a thumbnail for the What Tech Makes Us gives us the warm and fuzzies. That changed everything for me. But when I actually discovered the band T Square, oh my god, that's just decided the music. Really good. So I have here most of their CDs. From the 90s era, Impressive, Blue and Red. This is Blue and Red from Gran Turismo, of course, because the guitar player right here did the soundtrack for Gran Turismo. Welcome to the Rose Garden, that's a good one. Natural, you can't even listen to most of this on Spotify because of licensing issues, but this is a really rare one here. F1 Grand Prix. So this is a fantastic CD because they use a lot of their music for F1 racing in the early 90s. So that they composed music for that. Insane. And I've got here Friendship. This is their last album they did in 1999. Gravity. This is a fantastic record. And then New S, fantastic album. Honestly, I've never shown those CDs off because I've never had a chance. But I was going hard collecting CDs and vinyl for them, and I'm still trying to do it. So like right now, I like the 80s and the 90s of music, but I think right now for me is the best era because I love this band, and like all the members are still kind of active in creating music and playing music. So like I'm dying to go to Japan and see one of their shows. Like I even told Amber, cool. Like if I went to one of their concerts, I would probably cry. Like that would be the Beatles to me, like for young girls in the late 60s or mid 60s or something like that. I would be bawling my eyes out. It's like seeing Christ on stage. I'm not even kidding. Like this has had a massive impact on my life. I listen to nothing but Japanese jazz fusion. That's it. I don't like music with words in it anymore. Maybe I'm a higher intellectual being now. I've transcended. But I don't know, man.
I'm not smiling at you. I'm smiling at the live chat here where Dennis is just like going ham on telling us all your bad takes on music. So
he's feeling the team, man.
So this is the thing, is like he liked stuff like Anamanaguchi and chiptune stuff, which I still kind of don't like. I'm not a 100% fan of, but I grew up listening to Japanese like rock, like the Fully Cooley FLCL OST was supported by band The Pillows. I saw The Pillows at the Gramercy Theater in New York City in 2007 or 2008. I met them. I shook their hands. I had photos with them. Like everything. Like I've ever since I discovered Japan, thanks to Adult Swim and anime, I've been an otaku since the early 2000s. You know what I'm saying? We've even been talking about moving to Japan. I even say to my son, Daddy and Mommy have the Duolingo app. We're learning Japanese. We're going to move to Japan next year. Will that be fun? I'm dead set. This Japanese music changed my life. There you go,
bro. There you go.
KB.
I'm with Cody, man. The 90s were the best for music. I mean, look at all the EDM that came out in the 90s, man. I mean, like, come on. But specifically for me, though, 90s grunge, dude. 90s grunge. I mean, you had Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots. Ah, dude, it's so good. Like that's my stuff, man. If I want to, like, if I want to just relax with some easy listening music, I'll just throw on some of that good old grunge music. You know what I mean? Just mumble rock.
Can I tack on one like bonus question that's in the same genre?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
What was your first CD you ever got? First CD.
I think.
Let me look.
I think it was
gifted or bought. Either way, it doesn't matter.
It was either Backstreet Boys Millennium. I can't remember if I had that on cassette, but I love Backstreet Boys. Backstreet's back, all right. I also I think I remember buying what's that album from Ricky Martin where he had Livin' La Vida Loca. I'm pretty sure I bought that on CD from FYE at the Schuylkill Valley Mall back in the day.
So my brother used to burn me a bunch of CDs, so I was getting everything for free. But the actual first CD I ever bought, Newfound Glory Catalyst.
Shit, dude.
Oh my god.
Catalyst.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Because I want to say that one was one of the like parental warning ones, and my mom wouldn't get it for me, so I know my grandpa would. So I, worked my charm, and I said, "Pap, can we please go get this CD for me, please? My mom won't do it." And he said, "Oh, don't you worry, we'll go." Yo, there you go, man.
What a flashback. I remember like going into FYE back in the day and seeing the Blink-182 CDs, and they had like the explicit warnings and Limp Bizkit and all that stuff. I remember buying a Limp Bizkit CD, and I used to listen to that on my CD player while I played Star Fox 64, and that always amped me up.
So my brother was a true pirate, dude, because you would get a CD and he would have the cover art for the CD printed on it. Like, nice. So I had all kind of stuff, dude. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Garbage. I remember I got the CD for Garbage. I'm like, Garbage? Like, I asked him, I go, does that mean this isn't good? He's like, no, dumb. Insert bleep here. Yeah. That's a band name. And I'm like, okay. So he was the reason why. And now, mind you, my brother's 14 years older than me. So a lot of my musical taste was from him giving me this stuff as a child. So I'm like a little kid listening to things that like I probably shouldn't have been listening to, but that's why like, you know, that 90s grunge and all that really like holds a soft spot for me.
I have to say, I was devastated 2021. I had my favorite CDs because I started getting the CD collecting again from Discogs, and I had a little bit more cashola back then than I do now, and I was collecting these CDs, and I used to listen to CDs in the car. Why not? Because our 2019 Ford Escape was the last model of Ford Escape to have the CD player, so why not take advantage? So I had 3 CDs. I had T-Square Wave, I had Dimension 32, and I had Masato Honda Real Fusion, which is a fantastic CD. Oh my god. And I used to listen to them all the time, and then our car got broken into. I was so pissed. So those 2 CDs were taken from me, and then the case for T-Square Wave was stolen. So I still have a loose CD, and I can't afford to get them back again. I mean, I could, but you know, because it would be like $150 to get those 2 CDs. So it absolutely bummed me out. But you know what CDs I do have that I highly recommend? Turn-based and Boundless. I recommend.
Hey, that's the only ones that matter, dude.
I recommend those on CD, and check out the pink CD, pink disc.
So cool. Look at that.
So cool.
Dude.
So freaking cool.
You know, I got to play.
I mean,
come on, man.
I remember when I first met Mrs. KB, we're driving in her car and she pulls out the CD album. And I'm looking at her like, lady, get back in your time machine. Like, what is going on here? And we still listen to CDs. Like, she
CD
puts them in on the car. And it's, dude, she has some of the wildest music on these CDs, man. Like, crazy, like, house remixes of old, like, you know, Mamas and the Papas. She has that stuff. Oh, dude, then she'll go from that to, like, the emo days, and like it's some of it I'm like, oh, who are you, like but her love of music, man, that all came from her dad. Like her dad has a hard drive that he got from one of the radio stations closed down. And he knew the guy, and he has the hard drive with all the thousands and thousands of songs on it.
That's super cool.
So
That's super cool.
So like it's, you know, her and her dad are music heads, man. I'm just a you know, enthusiast. They're the real deal.
That's so funny. Probably my final talking point here, because I grew up with Nettist. We were besties, and you know, arguably maybe we still are. His mother used to burn DVDs.
Oh yeah.
Like to the point where I feel like she would rent the DVDs and then burn them, and like she had these own little flip cases and stuff like that. His mother was she would have the golden van, it's the soccer mom van, and she would have the big ass CD folder and like just all and it was like the entire Bon Jovi discography, like you know, under the flap. Just having a Pall Mall out the window, listening to Bon Jovi like that. Yeah. I'm telling you what, it's a vibe, and I grew up with that. So KB, you're living in it, man.
Dude, I only had a little one, like the little like 20 little like thing you could put like a CD on each side, dude. She's got the binder, man. Dude. It's impressive. It's very like I said, when I first met her, I'm like, where's your time machine? Is this a DeLorean? Like, where did you just pull this thing out of? Like,
that's too good. Well, there you go. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into episode 28. Obviously, we're still live. I have one more thing that I want to point out. That's a very Australian. I want to point out, of course, Spotify stats are going okay. Last episode reached 27 downloads. All of our episodes are mid 20. Like no episode is below 25 downloads, honestly. So it's going pretty good. Car accident outside by the sounds.
Maybe they know you. Maybe they're a fan.
Yeah, maybe. So last locations we've been downloaded in: 31% Oceania region, 81% in North America. Melbourne still to number 1. Rancho Cucamonga number 2. But our last episode, London, England, hitting 12% of downloads, as well as Rancho Cucamonga, California, Virginia, Florida, Kentucky, West Virginia, Valbo, Gavelborg County, wherever the hell that is, Wrexham. So we're happening over somewhere in Europe. 1 download in Asia, Sweden, Singapore, Germany, UK, US, Czechia, We're happening.
Man, I love
Mr.
it.
Worldwide.
Call
buddy.
me Pitbull.
Eric the Pitbull lad.
Oh, boy.
Jesus. All right. Well, there you go. Any final episode 28 thoughts before we flick on over to our post show and we kick off our ladies' night?
If you pre-order, make sure you get there and pick it up. You know what I mean? Make sure you get there
What
early.
you can pre-order is by going through patreon.com/breakfast of champions, and you'll be able to get more content. It is delivered on a weekly basis. It is a subscription fee, though, so go over there. It's 3 tiers, more content, more often. It's on like Patreon. Go do it.
Okay.
Go do it.
Thanks for watching. We're flicking over to our post show now.